You want to change your life. I'm going to give you a secret, but I need you to listen like your life depends on it, because it does. What if I told you that the difference between who you are and who you want to become isn't a decade away? It's not 5 years out. It's not even 12 months away. It's 60 minutes, 1 hour, and you have it. You've just been spending it on the wrong things. Every day you are given a deposit 24 hours, 140 minutes, 86, 400 seconds. And while the whole world receives the same deposit, the way you manage it determines whether you build wealth or stay in lack, whether you grow or stay stuck. Time is the currency of life. You trade it for everything. For money, for relationships, for knowledge, for rest. But here's the catch. Once it's spent, you don't get it back. It's gone forever. You can lose money and recover it. You can lose connections and rebuild them. But when you lose time, it's a permanent transaction, and the tragedy, most people are spending their time like it's infinite, when it's not. Look around. People are bankrupt in life not because of a lack of talent, not because of a lack of opportunities, not even because of bad luck. They're bankrupt because they never learned the value of a minute. They confuse being busy with being productive. They scroll for hours and call it relaxing. They binge distractions and call it taking a break. They delay their dreams, saying they'll start tomorrow, without realizing tomorrow is just another version of today. See, money will show up for those who master their minutes. Time is more valuable than money because time determines how much money you can make. Give me a man who knows how to manage time, and I'll show you a man who can multiply anything in his life. But give me someone who wastes time, and I'll show you someone who will stay broke, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The problem isn't time poverty, it's time mismanagement, it's the silent thief. You don't see it robbing you, but every day you let another hour slip, it's snatching from your future, your goals, your destiny. You're not just losing time, you're losing momentum, mastery, and meaning. Let me ask you something. If someone took $86, 400 out of your bank account every single day, wouldn't you do something about it? Wouldn't you fight to protect it? Yet that's how many seconds we're gifted each day. And we let them evaporate. We let them bleed into nonsense. We allow distractions to devour what could be development. But here's the real danger. When you treat time casually, you live life accidentally. You never become intentional. You never rise with urgency. You never move with purpose. Instead of designing your day, you react to it. Instead of mastering the moment, you become a slave to it. And before you know it, years pass, dreams fade, potential dries up, and this isn't just about hustle, it's deeper. This is about honoring the time God gave you. This is about respecting the call on your life enough to use the time wisely. Every second you've been given is part of a divine investment. Are you multiplying it or burying it? People say they want transformation, but transformation has a timestamp. You can't say, I'll get to it when I feel like it. Destiny doesn't wait for your feelings to align. Success doesn't delay for your comfort. What you do with your time reveals what you really value. Your calendar shows what you worship. And if you don't command your time, someone else will. You were never created to live on default. You were built to dominate your day. But domination starts with awareness. Do you even know where your hours go? Because when you track your time, you begin to treasure it. When you treasure it, you protect it. When you protect it, you multiply it. And here's the shift. Wealthy people think in terms of return on time, not just return on investment. Every hour they give is designed to produce fruit. But poor thinking trades time for comfort, pleasure, and laziness. It gives time away like candy and wonders why nothing grows. There are 24 golden hours in your hands. That's 24 opportunities to make your future better than your past. That's 24 doors you can either walk through or walk past. What you do with today determines what tomorrow owes you. And if you invest wisely, time will become your servant, not your master. Most people are time bankrupt not because they don't have enough time, but because they never learned to say no. Every yes is a no to something else. Every distraction is robbing something from your discipline. Every delay is pushing your dream further away. Stop spending your time like it's cheap. Start investing it like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't need a new year to change your life. You need 1 hour, one decision, one commitment to treat your time like treasure. You can rebuild your finances. You can rebuild your body. You can rebuild your relationships. But it starts by rebuilding your relationship with time. You're not too late, but you're not early either. You're exactly on time for the shift. All that's left is to use your hours like your life is counting on them. Because it is. Most people are waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. They believe that real transformation only comes through big, dramatic events. A seminar, a breakthrough, a crisis. But that belief is the very reason they stay stuck. Change doesn't come through one-time intensity. It comes through daily consistency, small, deliberate action. Done day after day will outperform random bursts of effort every single time. You don't need to overhaul your entire life in a day. You just need to do something small and do it relentlessly. The people who win are not the ones who run the hardest for a week. They're the ones who walk with purpose every day for a year. It's the power of the drip. One drop of water won't break a rock, but if it keeps falling in the same place long enough, that rock will crack. That's the law of consistency. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's unstoppable. You can't microwave transformation. You have to bake it with discipline. You've got to put in reps even when no one's clapping, even when it feels like nothing's changing, because results don't show up immediately. They grow silently. Roots form underground before fruit appears above ground. But if you stop watering too soon, if you quit just before the breakthrough, you forfeit the reward. Consistency doesn't always feel exciting, but it always produces evidence. Think about it. A person who works out for 8 hours straight one day a month will never be stronger than someone who trains for 30 minutes every day. A person who reads a book once a year won't outgrow the person who reads 10 pages a day. It's not about the explosion. It's about the accumulation. One brick a day eventually builds the wall. One seed a day creates a harvest. And one step a day, done consistently, takes you further than one giant leap you can't sustain. The problem is, we live in a highlight culture. People post their big wins, their 6-figure launches, their body transformations. But what they don't show is the repetition behind it. The early mornings, the quiet sacrifices, the boring disciplines. What you see as overnight success is just someone else's 1,000th hour of silent work. Consistency hides behind the scenes, but it makes everything on the stage possible. It's not about how loud you start. It's about how long you last. That's why some people burn out. They go too hard, too fast, chasing a feeling, not a foundation. But consistency builds the character that can carry the weight of success. If your discipline is built on emotion, you'll collapse when life stops being exciting. But when it's built on purpose, you keep going, especially when it's hard. Small action done daily forces your brain to rewire. It builds momentum, and momentum is the most underrated force in success. You may not feel different after one day or even 1 week, but after 1 month, after 1 year, you won't recognize yourself. Because you didn't just do different things, you became a different person. Identity shifts don't happen in a moment. They happen in the moments you show up when it's inconvenient. Even in your spiritual life, you don't grow just by going to one conference or hearing one sermon. You grow when you open the Word day after day, when you pray when no one's watching, when you stay faithful in the little things. God honors consistency. He promotes those who are found trustworthy, not occasionally, but continually. The enemy of your future isn't failure. It's inconsistency, starting and stopping, sprinting and collapsing. It creates a pattern of unfinished beginnings, and unfinished beginnings lead to unfulfilled potential. Your breakthrough is waiting, but it's on the other side of boring obedience, and the real test is, can you keep going when it feels like it's not working? This is where most people give up. They want the results of someone who's been consistent for years, but they're only willing to commit for days. You can't harvest where you haven't planted, and you can't plant once and expect fruit forever. Daily discipline is the price for extraordinary results. That's the cost most people aren't willing to pay, but when you do, everything changes. You stop chasing feelings. You start building systems. You stop waiting for motivation. You start relying on vision. And that's when you shift from average to uncommon, because the uncommon don't depend on hype. They depend on habits. The uncommon don't talk about potential. They execute with precision. It's not about intensity. It's about intention. One small decision, done every day with faith and focus, is more powerful than the loudest hype and the biggest push. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need a faithful rhythm. Do the work. Stay planted. Keep showing up, because the one who shows up every day will always surpass the one who only shows up when it's convenient. You don't need to overhaul your entire life to change it. You just need to do one thing consistently. Give yourself 1 hour of focused growth every single day. That's it. 60 minutes of intentional effort, undistracted attention, deliberate improvement. And while it may not feel like much at first, what that hour produces over time will absolutely blow your mind. You see, most people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can build in a year. The key isn't doing everything. It's doing one thing that matters and doing it well every single day. This is where most people miss it. They think transformation comes from massive effort all at once, like they need to flip a switch and become a whole new person overnight. But growth doesn't work like that. Growth is quiet, it's incremental, it stacks, it compounds. One focused hour a day may not look like much, but over a year, that's 365 hours. That's 9 full work weeks. That's nearly an entire college semester. That's enough time to learn a high-income skill, write a book, launch a business, get in shape, grow spiritually, deepen your relationships, or completely rewire your mindset. 1 hour every day, that's the margin between staying stuck and moving forward. But here's the catch: it has to be focused, not multitasking, not halfway, not background noise while scrolling your phone. Focused growth is when you lean into learning, training, or practicing with intensity and clarity. You know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and you show up for it like your future depends on it. Because it does. The compound effect is real, but it only activates with consistency. 1 hour done once a week won't do much. 1 hour done every day becomes a force multiplier. It's like compound interest in your bank account. The more consistent your deposits, the more your return accelerates over time. It starts small, almost invisible, but it builds with momentum, and momentum is your greatest ally. You won't always feel the change immediately. That's the deceptive part. You'll show up day after day and wonder if it's even working. But something is happening. Beneath the surface, your confidence is growing. Your skills are sharpening. Your mindset is shifting. Most of the breakthrough is invisible until it's not. And by the time everyone else sees the fruit, you've already been working the soil for months. The truth is, focused effort separates the average from the exceptional, not because of talent, not because of connections, but because of intention. Life doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to targeted action. And when you give yourself 1 hour a day to grow, you stop drifting and start driving. You stop reacting and start building. You stop hoping things will change, and you become the reason they change. This is why you don't need to compete with anyone, because most people won't even give themselves 1 hour. They'll make excuses. They'll get distracted. They'll say, "I don't have time," while spending 5 hours on entertainment. But you take that 1 hour and turn it into power, into strategy, into alignment with your future, and eventually that 1 hour will buy you freedom in the other 20. 3. Because when you grow yourself, everything else expands. Your income increases, your confidence multiplies, your voice gets stronger, your value goes up. You become the type of person who doesn't chase opportunity. Opportunity starts chasing you, not because you're lucky, but because you became ready, and readiness isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the quiet hour, the one most people skip. That 1 hour is where you train when no one's clapping. It's where you learn when no one's watching. It's where you become who you're meant to be long before the results show up. That's why it matters. That's why it compounds. That's why it works. Think of any area of your life you want to change: your health, your business, your spiritual life, your mindset. Now imagine if you gave that one area 60 minutes a day of focus, no distraction, no shortcuts, just learning, building, applying. Where would you be in 90 days, in 6 months, in a year? The answer is unrecognizable. But only if you start, and only if you stay consistent. So the question isn't, can 1 hour really change my life? The real question is, what would my life look like if I never committed to that hour? Because nothing changes if nothing changes. But everything changes when you give yourself the time to grow. You're not running out of time. You're leaking it. You're not behind because life is unfair. You're behind because you've allowed distractions to become decisions. Every single one of us is given the same 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets 25. No one gets a bonus hour. Time is the one resource we all receive equally. But the difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is how they manage the time they've been given. It's not a shortage issue. It's a stewardship issue. The painful truth is, most people aren't honest about where their time is going. They say they don't have time to pursue their dream, but they somehow have time for hours of scrolling, watching, overthinking, worrying, and unproductive conversations. They say they're overwhelmed, but their calendar is full of other people's priorities. Time is being lost not in chunks, but in leaks, silent leaks, small decisions, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and before you know it, the day is gone and your dream hasn't moved an inch. It's like having a leaking bucket. You can keep pouring more water in, but if you don't fix the hole, it will never stay full. You can pray for more time, but until you stop wasting the time you already have, it won't matter. What's the point of asking for more if you can't manage what's already in your hand? God doesn't bless mismanagement. He blesses stewardship, and stewardship begins with awareness. The average person doesn't realize how many hours they're leaking. Just 1 hour a day spent on mindless scrolling ads up to over 15 full days in a year. That's more than 2 weeks gone, without intention, without return, without fruit. Multiply that by 5 years, and you've lost over 2 months of your life. And what do you have to show for it? Most people won't even remember what they watched or read or laughed at during those hours. They don't walk away enriched. They walk away empty, tired, and often more confused. You don't need more time to succeed. You just need to stop leaking it. Start paying attention to the way your minutes are spent. Because time doesn't just disappear, it gets exchanged. Every hour goes somewhere. You're trading your time for something every single day. Are you getting a return or just more regret? People say they don't have time to read books, but they've read thousands of meaningless posts. They say they don't have time to build a side business, but they've built entire digital lives online for free. They say they don't have time to pray, to write, to create, to grow, but they've invested heavily in entertainment that didn't improve a single thing in their lives. That's not a lack of time, that's a misalignment of values. You've got to own it. Your time, like your life, depends on it, because it does. The future you're praying for is trapped behind the time you keep giving away. You say, it's just a few minutes, but success and failure both live in the small things. The small, consistent actions that compound into results, or regret. Your future isn't built in the big moments. It's built in how you manage the little ones, and don't get it twisted. This isn't about hustle culture. This is about purpose. This is about living on assignment. This is about refusing to waste the life you've been given on distractions that lead nowhere. You weren't created to coast. You weren't created to survive your days. You were created to use your days, to multiply what you've been given, to take time and turn it into transformation. But that only happens when you get intentional. You have to stop drifting and start deciding. Decide what matters. Decide what gets your attention. Decide what no longer deserves your energy, because every yes is a seed, and where you plant your time determines what grows in your life. If you plant it in empty entertainment, don't be surprised when your life feels empty. But if you plant it in learning, growth, faith, strategy, your harvest will reflect your investment. You want to reclaim your time. Start by reclaiming your focus. Set boundaries, make non-negotiables. Learn to say no, not just to other people, but to your old patterns. You don't owe anyone your time if it costs you your future. And you don't owe your past habits anything if they keep producing the same broken result. So the next time you say, I don't have time, stop yourself. Ask the real question, where is my time going? Because the truth is, you're not lacking time, you're leaking it. And once you fix the leak, you'll realize you had more than enough time to become everything you were created to be. Every single day, you're casting votes for your future, and most of the time, you don't even realize it. The way you spend your time isn't random, it's prophetic. That 1 hour you give to something consistently is shaping who you're becoming. That hour is a seed, and whatever you plant in it will eventually produce a harvest. What you prioritize in that hour doesn't just affect your present, it reveals your future, because the direction of your focus always determines the destination of your life. You can look at how someone spends their hour of focus each day and almost predict where they'll be in 5 years. That 1 hour is either building your dream or someone else's. It's either growing you or distracting you. It's either preparing you for what you prayed for or disqualifying you from it. We don't become what we want. We become what we consistently give our time and attention to. If you spend your hour scrolling, escaping, or comparing, don't be surprised when your life lacks direction, clarity, or peace. But if you spend your hour learning, building, serving, creating, your future begins to shift. You start aligning with who you're meant to be, not just who you've been. And the results might not show up right away, but that hour is doing deep work. It's reshaping your thinking. It's training your discipline. It's stacking small wins that compound into big breakthroughs. Every priority is a prophecy. If you make your growth a priority, then your future will grow with you. If you make comfort your priority, then your future will be predictable and small. If you make fear your priority, your future will shrink. But if you make bold, uncomfortable, intentional progress your daily goal, you will eventually outgrow the version of you that once held you back. And all of that change begins with what you choose to do in that hour. We get one chance at today. One. It will never come back. That hour you give to your dream or your purpose isn't just work, it's worship. It's how you honor the gift of time God gave you. And what you do with that gift reflects what you truly believe about your calling. Most people don't realize their time is sacred. They treat it like it's common. They give it away to anything that makes noise. But the ones who prioritize purpose in their hour, those are the ones who rise, not because they're lucky, but because they're intentional. It's not even about doing something huge in that hour. It's about doing something aligned, something with purpose, something that moves the needle, even if only a little. It might be writing one page, making one phone call, reading one chapter, practicing one skill. The action itself doesn't have to be massive, but the consistency must be. That's where most people fail. They wait for inspiration. But successful people have learned that discipline doesn't wait on a feeling. It's rooted in commitment, the decision to keep showing up, even when the results are still hidden. You can't lie to your time. It will always tell the truth about you. If you say your health matters, but you never invest your hour in moving your body or learning about nutrition, your body will eventually reveal that truth. If you say your family matters, but your hour goes to everything but connection, your relationships will reflect that neglect. If you say you want financial freedom, but you never use your hour to learn, strategize, or build, your bank account will show the results of that decision. Time is honest. It exposes what we actually value, not just what we say we value. So the question becomes, what future are you building in your hour today? Are you building strength, wisdom, clarity, peace, or are you building anxiety, confusion, and stagnation? Because the future is not a surprise. It's a result, a product of thousands of small choices made daily in the dark. The difference between success and regret often lives inside that 1 hour of priority, and here's the beauty of it. You don't have to wait for anyone's permission to start. That hour is already yours. The only thing left to decide is what you'll do with it. You can choose growth. You can choose purpose. You can choose alignment. It won't always be glamorous. It won't always be comfortable. But it will always be worth it, because that 1 hour is not just about what you're doing. It's about who you're becoming, and the future belongs to those who decide what to prioritize when no one else is watching. The loudest wins are always rooted in the quietest sacrifices. The applause you see, the platform you admire, the recognition that turns heads, it all begins in places no one claps for. Discipline in private is the hidden engine behind every public reward. The late nights, the early mornings, the uncelebrated choices, the decisions to keep going when quitting would be easier, that's the grind most people never see, but it's the grind that produces greatness. Everyone wants the reward, but not everyone wants the routine that precedes it. People crave the results of discipline, but they resist the pain of building it. They want the fruit without the root. They want the stage without the sweat. But God doesn't reward public moments until you've passed the private tests. The private space is where character is formed, where integrity is forged, and where you prove you can handle the weight of what you're asking for. Discipline in private is what keeps your name clean when your platform grows. It's what sustains your strength when pressure increases. Because when the lights come on, you don't rise to the occasion. You rise to your level of preparation. You can't fake consistency. You can't pretend strength. You either built it in the dark or you didn't. That's why the gym is often empty in the early hours. That's why the pages of a journal are filled with words no one will ever read. That's why the practice sessions, the lonely prayer times, the difficult choices to walk away from ease and lean into effort matter more than anyone realizes. What you do when no one is watching reveals who you really are. And what you do in secret sets the tone for what gets revealed in public. We live in a culture obsessed with visibility, but transformation happens in obscurity. The hidden places are where habits are formed, where your standard is raised, and where your mind is renewed. If you skip the hidden season, you forfeit the strength that comes from it. You might get exposure before you're ready, and that kind of early elevation can crush you if you haven't developed the internal structure to carry it. Every champion you admire didn't become who they are because of what they did occasionally. They became who they are because of what they committed to privately, day after day, without needing attention for it. The discipline to study when others were sleeping, the decision to train when no one cared, the refusal to compromise when shortcuts seemed easier, all of that compounds until one day the public reward appears, and it looks like it happened suddenly. But nothing about it was sudden. It was earned step by step in silence. That's why you can't envy someone else's results if you don't respect their routine. You can't want the crown without carrying the cross. Public celebration is just confirmation of private consistency. And God often promotes people publicly only after they've proven faithful privately. He's not looking for people who are just talented. He's looking for people who are trustworthy. And trust is built through discipline. The irony is that real discipline rarely feels dramatic. It feels ordinary. It feels like doing what you said you'd do, long after the mood you made the decision in has faded. It feels like choosing water over sugar, showing up to write when you don't feel creative, spending time in the Word when distractions are louder than your desire, forgiving when bitterness seems justified. Discipline isn't loud, but its results are undeniable, and here's the power of it. The more disciplined you are in private, the more doors open in public. Opportunities that seem like miracles often come to those who are preparing for them behind the scenes. You attract what you're ready for, and readiness isn't a one-time act. It's a lifestyle. It's the quiet resolve to keep showing up, to keep developing, to keep aligning with your purpose even when no one notices. You don't need an audience to become great. You need an assignment and the discipline to stay faithful to it. Because greatness doesn't announce itself in the beginning. It's built in quiet rooms on unseen days, through repeated decisions to honor your calling, even when the results feel invisible. But eventually the fruit comes, the reward appears, the doors open. And when they do, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. It was stewardship. It was grace meeting preparation. So if you're in a season where no one sees your work, don't be discouraged. That's where God does his best development. Stay faithful, stay focused, keep showing up in the dark, because when the light hits, what you built in private will speak so loudly, you won't even have to introduce yourself.